Riddle me this. Is Russia's invasion of Ukraine pushing the Russian state toward ruin, sowing collapse, unraveling control, economic implosion? Or is Europe being dragged into a stuck war, a swamp of costs, divisions, and endless confrontation? Today we trace the war's arc, from blitz to attrition, to ask whether Ukraine is redefining Russia's fate or ensnaring Europe in a quagmire. If this video made you see things from a new angle, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Hero or Villain, and share this video. Thanks for watching. Roots and build-up, the move toward conflict. After the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, Russia lost territory, prestige, and strategic depth. NATO's eastward expansion, the 2004 and 2007 enlargements, and Ukraine's 2014 Maidan revolution stoked Russian strategic fears. In 2014, Russia annexed Crimea and backed separatists in Donbass, signaling that Ukraine's tilt west was a red line. Over the 2010s, Putin built a discourse of Ruski Mir, Russian protection for Russian speakers, and spheres of influence. By 2021, intelligence outlets warned Russia would invade Ukraine in months. By February 2022, that warning became reality. Invasion phase and blitz ambitions. On February 24, 2022, Russia launched a full-scale invasion, multi-pronged thrusts toward Kyiv, Kharkiv, Kherson, southern axis. Russia expected a quick victory, capturing key cities in weeks using superior numbers and momentum. But it miscalculated. Ukraine's resistance was fierce, logistics failed, and Western sanctions and weapons poured in. By spring 2022, Russia's advance had stalled. Kyiv remained in Ukrainian hands, and Russian forces began tactical withdrawals. At this stage, observers dared to speculate. Maybe the Kremlin's gamble would end in collapse. Collapse for Russia? The signs and limits. Factors suggesting collapse. Economic shock. Sanctions cut off Russia's access to technology, finance, and global trade. The ruble crashed. Critical imports were blocked. Manpower and morale crisis. Losses in men, equipment, and morale mounted. Reports of Russian dissatisfaction and desertion circulated. Political risks. Putin's domestic control relies on centralized authority and a managed narrative. Sustained failure threatens cracks in control. Regional challenges. The cost of war extends beyond Ukraine. Pressures in the North Caucasus, border tensions, internal dissent. Counterarguments/limitations. Russia still controls massive territory, energy revenues, and a centralized security apparatus. The Kremlin has shown resilience, media control, elite purges, incentives to stay loyal. China, India, and others continued trading with Russia, partly mitigating economic isolation. So collapse is not guaranteed, but the risks are real. Europe's dilemma, the quagmire possibility. Costs and drag factors. Defense burden. EU states have pledged billions in military aid. Many governments now allocate more to defense than welfare. Refugee flows. Millions of Ukrainians fled to EU countries, placing pressure on housing, integration, resources. Economic disruption. Supply chains, energy prices, food security have been disrupted by war and sanctions. Political fractures. Some states favor tough action, others fear escalation. Populist parties push for stop funding the war. Risk of escalation. Russia has threatened nuclear calls, targeting civilian infrastructure. Europe walks a tightrope over escalation. Why Europe might avoid total entanglement. NATO holds primary defense guarantees. EU states might resist political military leadership in frontline war. Europe has diplomatic tools, not only boots, sanctions, diplomacy, Ukraine support without full-blown invasion. Over time, the EU may force Russia into partial withdrawal or partition, reducing Europe's enduring war burden. Thus, Europe's risk is real, but total bogged-down need not be inevitable. The global and regional stakes. Ukraine as a pivot. Its success or failure defines whether democratic sovereignty can resist big power aggression. NATO cohesion. The war has tested alliance unity, burden sharing, and defense commitments. Authoritarian emboldenment. Some regimes watch whether Russia's gamble pays off, measuring Western resolve. China's posture. Beijing watches closely. If Russia fractures or endures, China adjusts its Taiwan strategy. Food and energy security. Russia and Ukraine as breadbaskets means war ripples into global inflation and supply chains. The conflict is not just Ukrainian. It is structural for the 21st century order. Human dimension and cultural layers. Ukrainian civilians endure shelling, displacement, loss, and trauma, but also fierce resistance and national solidarity. Russian soldiers, many conscripts, face death and grief. Some speak out, some disappear from narratives. Across Europe, citizens debate burden sharing, gas bills, refugee integration, and military priorities. Cultural memory wars, public statues, monuments, school curricula. Ukraine and Russia contest history itself. Did you know? Russia has deployed one of the largest mobilizations in modern European warfare since World War II. Ukraine's use of drones, loitering munitions, and Western-supplied weapons has rewritten modern warfare doctrine. Some Russian drones have flown as far as targets inside Russia itself, indicating blowback and escalation. European nations like Poland and Lithuania have seen record spikes in military recruitment since 2022. Sketch of the day. A split-frame image. On left, Kyiv's skyline at dawn. Dome of St. Michael's, flags, smoke pillars. On right, a European border town. Trains full of refugees, empty shelves, conscription posters on walls. Between them, a map line tracing Ukraine's front, the path of war drawn in red. One war, two fronts. Europe watches. Final thoughts. Has Russia's war in Ukraine triggered its unraveling, or will it endure under the weight of aggression? Is Europe sinking into a quagmire of costs, risk, and division, or emerging with renewed strategic purpose? Perhaps both paths run side by side. Ukraine's fate may shape Europe's destiny, and Russia's collapse is not certain, but its hubris is laid bare. History will ask not only who won, but at what cost and for how long. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay compassionate. Zooming out. If this video made you see things from a new angle, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Hero or Villain, and share this video. Thanks for watching.